Hi guys, it's Erin, and today I'm going to share with you my Victober TBR. So Victober was a thing that I learned about last year, and it's Victorian October, and it kind of is what it sounds like. You read Victorian literature in October. It sounded super fun, but because of school, the only Victorian literature that I was going to be reading that month was the stuff that was assigned for my Victorian novel class, and I just didn't feel like bothering to participate. I don't even remember what I read in October last year. Something, apparently. So this year I was like bound and determined to participate because I think it's so wonderful and I really love reading Victorian fiction for fun. It's not my area of study, but I just enjoy it and I'd like to deepen my knowledge of it, and I think this is a great opportunity to do that. That said, as the month of September has drawn on, I have come to kind of a better understanding of my workload this semester, and it's still a lot. It's not quite as much as it was last year, but it's still enough that I am not going to be attempting any 700-page Dickens novels or anything like that, which is kind of sad, but that's how my life is right now. And unfortunately, I'm not in any classes that would make reading a Victorian novel an excuse. So my challenge for Victober this year was to find books that fit the challenges, as many of them as I could, with the fewest number of books, with the shortest number of pages. And because I really wanted to try to hit all of the challenges, because I think they're really great this year, and I'll get more into those in a minute, but I also didn't want to read very many books, and I didn't want to try to commit to anything really long because I knew that I'm just not gonna have the time to finish it in a month. So I did. I succeeded, I think, and this is my very short Victorian TBR. If you'd like to know a little bit more about Victober, or you want some recommendations to participate, definitely go check out the hosts' channels. It's hosted by 4 ladies this year. Angie from Beyond the Pages, Kate Howe from, I can't remember what her channel's called. It's linked in the description. Lucy, the reader, and Katie from Books and Things. And I'll link all of their announcement videos below. They talk about their challenges, and then they also share a bunch of recommendations for those challenges. They're great. I thought about making a recommendations video, but honestly they're so comprehensive that I don't have anything to add. So less work for me. And so each of the ladies contributed a challenge. So here they are and how I'm going to fulfill them. The first challenge is from Angie, and it is to read a book by a Victorian female author. Now the bonus is to read one that's new to you, and I don't think I'm going to manage to do that, mostly because I don't have any new to me Victorian female authors on my shelf, and that's another thing. I'm doing this with the books that I already own. So I'm going to double this up with Kate's challenge, which is to reread a Victorian book and reread Silas Marner by George Eliot. If you've been around my channel for a while, you know that I'm trying to read all of George Eliot's works after I read Middlemarch last year and was just like blown away. This is her 4th or 5th novel. I can't remember where it falls in the sequence, and it's the only one that I had read of hers before Middlemarch, but it's been a really long time, and now that I feel like I have a better understanding of George Eliot's work and kind of her project and the way that she writes, I would really like to revisit this, and this seems like a really perfect opportunity to do it. It's very short. The story isn't even this long because there's notes and stuff in the background. It's a story that I know that I already like, and it's by a woman author. So that was just like a no-brainer for me. Katie's challenge was to read a Victorian book that was under 250 pages or over 500 pages, and we're not going to even try to read something that's over 500 pages. So this is under 250 pages. Huzzah! And then Lucy's challenge is to read an underrated Victorian book from the same year as your favorite Victorian classic. And this one was really interesting. I would love to like take the opportunity to really delve in to something really unique, maybe by a less known Victorian female writer or something. But again, I just don't have time to commit to anything really long. So what I decided to do was I looked at the publication years of Middlemarch, which are 1877 and 78, I think, or 70 and 72. I will correct myself on the screen. I am not looking it up right now. And I found that one of George MacDonald's children's books was published in one of these years. Again, I will tell you on the screen what it is. And I really like George MacDonald. I've read a couple of his works. They're weird and wonderful and kind of early fantasy, and that he is somebody else that I have been wanting to read more. So his novel At the Back of the North Wind, which I actually have on my Kindle already, is going to be my pick for this. George MacDonald is very much less known. He wrote books for adults and for children. He was an influence on writers like C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien, but not one of the kind of big names, so I think he counts. And that's it. That's my TBR. Silas Marner and At the Back of the North Wind. Ta-da! This is what grad school does. It makes you creative and read short Victorian fiction. If by some miracle I have time, I read these 2 books and there's still a month left and I want to at least start something Victorian, I have a couple of things that I might consider. One of them is to pick one of the several Dickens novels that I have on my TBR shelf that I haven't read yet. And the other is to read Romola by George Eliot, which is about 500-ish pages. It's one of her shorter books. That is actually, it's set in the Renaissance, and I'm quite intrigued and excited to read that, but again, I don't know if I'm going to have time to like read it and finish it, so that's a kind of maybe, but probably not at the end of this TBR. Oh, I forgot. The final challenge is a general challenge, which is to read a book by candlelight, and I definitely plan to do that at some point. I don't know if I'll vlog it. I don't know if it's really worth doing that. I might do some kind of video about like how people used to read in the past, not just by candlelight. We'll see. I have some ideas brewing, but again, timing. But I'll definitely do that. I'll at least post it on my Instagram, so if you don't follow me already over there, you should definitely go check it out. The link is in the box in down there, that one. For the same reasons, I probably won't be participating in the group read-alongs, which is kind of a bummer because I really love Oscar Wilde, but I have already read The Importance of Being Earnest. If you haven't, I highly recommend that you check it out because it's fantastic. And A Woman of No Importance isn't a play that I have. If I have like some magical amount of time where I could sit down and read a play in a couple of hours at the end of the month, I might do that, but it's doubtful, so we'll see how that goes. If you're participating, I'd love to know what your TBR is. If you have a video or something, definitely like link it down below. I'd love to watch it and see what you guys are reading. Even though I'm kind of only sort of tangentially participating, I would love to kind of see what everybody else is doing and build up a reading list for the future when I'm not in a PhD program, because, you know, that'll happen someday. Yeah, and that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.